Sure that our audio is going when we start. That's the thing I care about the most. Yeah, no, it's live now. Hey guys, welcome to the weekly Meatgistics podcast. Sorry, we're just a few seconds late there. We've got some clocks that aren't quite matching up, so we're trying to figure that out. This, for anyone who's just joining us, expecting one of the normal monthly Walton's podcasts, this is a little bit different. We tend to focus way more on meat processing here. Answer your questions. Obviously, we can go outside meat processing, but for the most part, that's what we're trying to do here. We don't generally do a bunch of giveaways, anything like that. More targeted, want people who have either questions or want to learn something. So we're going to talk about a couple of things today. One is the first one, and it's kind of sad. I was watching a podcast from like 3 weeks ago the other day, and it said, I'd be really upset if I was still working on the website and it wasn't the new website and it wasn't live. Here we are more than 3 weeks later, and we are still on the old waltonsinc.com. We're having some problems with payment processing. Pretty much everything else is ready to go. Austin and I are still planning on doing a long, however long it takes, 5-hour live stream when we go live. So if anyone's having problems with it, they can pop right on over and we can either try to fix it, show them how to do it on the new website, or just answer questions. We are hoping that people will just pop on to praise us, how much they like the new Walton's Inc. I really do think the way we have configurable products set up, which is like the vac bags, if you go to it now, everything is on one page. You just have to scroll. We've changed to a drop-down menu, which I think is easier. We hope you guys like it better too. Another thing, you can start just going to waltons.com. We, a couple months ago, were able to get that domain. It'll forward you to waltonsinc.com, but it is eventually going to be waltons.com. So you can just start doing that now. If you have bookmarks and stuff, waltonsinc.com will always take you there. We will forward everything so it all comes to the same area. I was very far behind here and did not bring up the chat, so let me do that real quick. Thanks for joining us. I am glad we're back to a more regular schedule with this around the holidays, and then with some of the earlier website stuff, we got off track on doing it all the time, and we were building a fairly good following on this. I had told Austin when I started these that if I could get average around 500 views on each one of these, I would think that was worth it, and we're definitely doing that. Last couple, not so much, just I'm hoping, because it's been more, sometimes we have one, sometimes we don't. So we are going to make a concentrated effort to continue or to get back onto that schedule. Same thing with the podcast. We had some craziness going on there for a while, but we're back to where we have at least one on deck at all times. So when we record one on Friday, that will be released not the following Monday, but the one after that. So we got some cool guests coming up for you. And we've had some really fun conversations on the podcast. The one from a couple weeks ago, I've been told, and then upon listening to it, I was pretty negative. I think at one point I even said I have no hope. We tried to reverse that on this most recent one. But I mean, sometimes you get in a funk, but we're all good now. All right, so everything seems to be working. Somebody showed me how to pop out chat again, but I've lost it. I have no idea how to do that again. So we've got Ryan Jones, Flyboy no more. Flyboy, I feel like you were with us for a bunch of the first ones and then kind of probably fell off due to our scheduling, but welcome back. We got Deb from Wyoming. God, I want to be in Wyoming. Just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous country. Ryan Stevens says, how's it going? Snow is melting. Okay, that's good. John Belvedere, how you doing? All right. Ryan Jones says, how many pounds of pork would you use to make a full batch of sausage using the barbecue jerky seasoning? So this is something that's come up a bunch. Anytime you have a summer sausage seasoning, you can use that at a 1-to-1 ratio to make snack sticks. Same thing back and forth. Jerky, while it is also a cured sausage, it's formulated differently. It's designed to be a topical. So it's going to sit on top of the jerky, and then you're going to dehydrate a ton of the water, which is 70-something% of the meat, 60-something% of the meat. So it doesn't have to be as strong. If you see a bag that says like habanero lime, jerky, or snack stick, like it has that dash, that can be used as a 1-to-1. With the barbecue, it is not both. It doesn't work for both. And there is actually a barbecue jerky and a barbecue snack stick seasoning. So you could always go that route. But I would say if you're going from a jerky to a snack stick, let me make sure I understood that, to make a full batch of sausage. I'm assuming you're meaning cured sausage. That's a big bag. I think it's 5 pounds or around that for a 25-pound. Let me just look that up real quick. Because while I don't know the weights of quite all of them, I tend to know the ones that are at least a little bit bigger. Why is waltonzinc.com not coming up? Oh, because I'm stupid. Let's see. And Tex, thanks for joining us last time. That was great. Really was nice to have somebody else up here for one of these. I think here and there, we're going to bring Patrick up here every once in a while, just so I have somebody else to talk to. All right. Barbecue jerky seasoning is 3.1526 pounds for 25 pounds of meat. I would probably use that whole bag and use salt's definitely going to be the number one ingredient. No, it's not sugar because it's sweet. I would say 22 pounds, right in that range. Like a 10%-ish reduction in the amount of meat should do you good. Now, when you say sausage, are you wanting to make that a fresh sausage, like no curing? Because that definitely changes the answer. Saw someone from Walton send a chat on the Timcast. That was me. Yeah, he just kind of like, not for me. But I'm still going to reach out to Lydia to see if they have any interest. Really, it's just like a weird way I want to get on that show. I'm an enormous Tim Pool fan. I know it doesn't seem to make any sense, but one of the reasons I started doing this, for those of you who don't know, Tim Pool does like all these YouTube news type segments and does like releases everything as a podcast. And I pretty much listen to both of his things every day. And it was after one of our live streams or something, I was thinking, I really enjoy interacting with the Walton's community, Meatgistics community. One of the things I really like about the Tim Pool is that there's always content to consume. So I figured, what can we do that's not another podcast, that's not a monthly live stream? And we came up with this. But yes, that was me. I got a big thrill out of when he read that. My phone always changes S's to A's for anyone who didn't see that. Twice when I was trying to say meat, I put mess, or it typed messed, and it typed SND. So he corrected the first one automatically, but on the second one, he's like, maybe he does mean messed. He did it twice. But yeah, so sorry. Manitoba. What is 8 Celsius? Right? 0 is the same in both, I think. So 8 Celsius is not very warm. Hi, Craig. I'm Midwest KC on the board. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know why YouTube does that. A lot of the times they won't let you change your username. It's led to more than one confusion with when we do our monthly live streams, we do a bunch of giveaways, draw it, and then make people respond, and like somebody else responds with a different name. That's caused some confusion. But so now that I've just said that we don't do giveaways on this one, this specific episode and maybe some future ones are going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do a few small little giveaways, but I'm just going to do it after, and I'll go through the chat and I'll pick what I think were the best questions. Prizes will be small, but definitely varied. What the winner today is going to get is a few of these new seasonings from Excalibur, and there's a couple of good reasons for that. So there's 3 of them. There's the Nashville hot. There is this Chipotle lime sweet rub and authentic buffalo. So these 2 are absolutely incredible. I'm so happy we're bringing this in. Yesterday morning, well, actually we have to bring it back to Monday. We now have the Camp Chef vertical smoker as well as the Woodwind, which is their pellet like grill, their grill smoker combo. That Woodwind, I absolutely love mine. I bought one, have it at my house and adore it. I've been using it for everything. We made snack sticks in the Woodwind and snack sticks on the laydown, on the vertical. And both of them came out really good. So I wanted to do a review that wasn't necessarily a review. Basically, it's going to be like a buying guide. We're going to go over the features of both of them and then talk about which one's better for a pork butt, which one's better for chicken wings, which one's better for yada yada. And then off that, hopefully you can use that to determine which one you would buy. I took 2 pork butts out of our deep freeze on Monday, left them out on this counter in their vacuum package for like 4 hours. They were still frozen, pretty much solid, but I didn't want to mess around with the outside warming up too much. So I knew the inside was frozen solid, but you warm up the outside and that's where all the bacteria lives anyways. So I put them in the fridge, came back the next day. They were still pretty frozen. I left them out for like 2 hours, put them back in, came back in the next day. They were still frozen in the middle. So we put the one in each smoker on the back. We had it at 225. I got the probe thermometers in there, which wasn't easy because it was frozen in the middle. And for the first, I put them in at 6:30 a.m. For the first 2 hours, it just read 32 on both of them because that's as low as they go, I guess. So that took a long time. I came back in last night around 8 o'clock, and one of them was at 179. One was at like 171 or something like that, which for anyone who smokes a lot of pork butts, that's real low. I mean, that's done, but that's very low. When we cook pork butts, we want to get up the temperature to 193, which is, I know it's particular, but that's what I like. At that temperature, you can just grab the meat and pull it apart, and it pulls absolutely gorgeously. Reason for that is you have broken down all of the collagen and connective tissue. You've rendered a bunch of the fat, so it's just really nice and soft and tender. These didn't pull that well. They pulled well. They really did. For 179 degrees or whatever that first one was, they did a good job. But I used this rub on that, the Chipotle lime sweet rub, and wow, does it make good pulled pork. I was thrilled with that. And then today we did a comparison on chicken wings. So we did 2 different ones. One of them we used the Cosmos wing dust, the garlic parmesan. I sprayed those with duck fat before coating with that. And then I smoked them at 225 degrees for about 3 hours, trying to move them around a good amount to deal with any cold spots. The buffalo ones, I took mayo, 2 eggs, 2 farm eggs, mixed in a bunch of this and just whipped it up till it was basically just almost like a whipping. I then dunked my wings in there. Then I used some chicken on the run with a bunch of the authentic buffalo wing. And this thing is awesome for breading. Absolutely love that thing. Basically, the top is a canister. The bottom is where you put your seasoning, and it's got a grate in between. So you just shake it up, flip it over, and it does an awesome job of fully coating the wings. Then I melted a stick of butter, or a half stick of butter, and not too much Frank's Red Hot. You can see it. This was a fresh bottle, so just a little bit. Mixed that up and drizzled it over the top, the ones we did with the authentic buffalo wing, and wow, so good. Couple of interesting things. The duck fat, even on a smoker, really crisped up the skin on the chicken wings to the point where, not quite where you would think they were fried, but they definitely had like a lightly fried texture to them, which is not normally what we get with smoked wings. But out of them both, I did like the ones we used the mayo and the authentic buffalo wing hot sauce on. It was awesome. Probably not going to need to eat dinner I ate a ton of those. So sorry, I rambled there a little bit. Will the new website have a shortcut to the shopping cart? So there will be, like, it'll be up in your right-hand corner. You will have to, I believe you have to scroll to the top of the page, but then it's right there. Just made a 10-pound batch of your supreme seasoning with added pepperoni. I did a test fry, and wow, that is money. Yeah, that's John Belvedere. That is, I mean, I absolutely love that. And if you do, you mix in a little bit of 50-50 of ghost pepper and the mozzarella, just adds a whole nother thing to it. We made a batch of snack sticks with that. So the Supreme Pizza is a bratwurst seasoning, so it's a fresh sausage. It's designed to be stuffed into either a collagen or a natural casing and then grilled. It doesn't have the same salt content because salt is just in there for taste, or mostly there for taste. It's not in there for protein extraction. So we used 18% more seasoning per pound, then smoked them like we normally would. And for those, that was the test batch in the Camp Chef vertical, and phenomenal. Absolutely great. On those, I'm not sure that ghost pepper was the best choice because it does tend to dominate. In a regular brat, it wouldn't as much, but with like a semi-dried sausage, you are going to get more of that heat from the ghost pepper. But I'm glad people are trying that because that stuff is awesome. Joel enjoyed hearing Tex. Cool. Good. Yeah, that was good. All right. So Tex, if you're doing fresh sausage, you might. Your probably best bet is just 1-to-1. Sugar's the number one ingredient. It's 3.125 pounds. Like the habanero mango brat seasoning is in that same range. It's also got like a sweet. So I would say, yeah, I'd say make a smaller batch. Try it at just a 1-to-1 ratio. I think you're going to be fine there. Oh, sorry. Everything just jumped there. All right. Papa Sop says, high temp cheese. Don't know your supplier, but the pepper cheese needs some help. Could be a little bit more true pepper jack, pretty mild. Tried the ghost pepper, but the sweating. Yeah, the hot pepper cheese is just basically a pepper jack. It's got like some peppers in it, but you could sit there and eat handfuls of it. I've told the story a bunch of times, but when we got the ghost pepper, I assumed it was going to be the same thing. Ate a whole handful of it, and my scalp was like sweating and tingling. That stuff is serious. It's definitely got some heat. A true pepper jack with willies would be awesome. I mean, anything with willies is awesome. For those of you who didn't see it, I posted a thing on Meatgistics recently asking about people's interest in 4 snack stick seasonings that Excalibur carries that we don't stock. It was nacho cheese snack stick seasoning, which just sounds awesome. Sweet chili. I can't remember if it was sweet Thai chili or just sweet chili. Beer and onion. And what was the last one? I can't remember the last one. But I asked everybody to go through and rank which ones they would be most excited if we got in. Nacho and sweet chili were definitely 1 and 2. So we are bringing those in. They will be stock items. The beer and onion and smoking jalapeno. I'm thinking it's just going to be jalapeno just kicked up a couple levels, but we don't know on that. I'm bringing in 2 sample bags of that, so I'll go ahead and make small batches of it and then just determine if it's worth bringing in or not. But yeah, the nacho cheese snack stick seems like a no-brainer. Throw some cheddar in there, maybe do a mix of all 4 or 5 of the cheeses we carry. The first time we did a video on the Supreme Pizza pepperoni with the Supreme Pizza bratwurst with the pepperoni, we actually took 4 of our cheeses, put them in a pan, melted them, then we poured it onto some wax paper, cut it up into little cubes, and used that. And that was incredible because you're getting all 4 cheeses in every single bite, basically. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. You could do something similar with that with the nacho flavored stuff. Do I have to rehydrate jalapenos before adding them to snack sticks? Want to try some of the Bloody Mary seasoning? First of all, that's going to be really good. And second of all, yeah, you want to rehydrate your jalapeno flakes. 5 parts water to 1 parts jalapeno. So like get 1 ounces of jalapeno, of the jalapeno dried flakes. Add 5 ounces of water to that, or just whatever it is, 5 times as much water. Let them fully rehydrate, and then you want to add that to your product at a range between 3 to 6%. So if you were doing 100 pounds of snack sticks, you would do either 3 pounds or 6 pounds of those rehydrated jalapenos. 3% is fairly tame in my mind. 6%, you start getting more, but not still, I don't think, a ton of heat. The issue is jalapenos are kind of one of those things that sometimes can be screaming hot and sometimes are, just sort of mild. Yeah. So. Where is it? Okay. I'm on Android. Went to settings of Google and changed my profile. No one pops up ever. Oh, cool. Interesting. Yeah. One of the things that we will definitely bring this up in our review of the Camp Chef stuff, 100% works better with iOS than Android. We're getting another, I've tried it on 2 Android phones, but they're both Google Pixels, just different versions. We're getting a Samsung that we'll have access to that we're going to try it with. But my old iPhone SE, which I keep around because often things work better with the iOS, it hooked up no problem immediately to that. And I was fighting with it with my Pixel for an hour, something like that, before I got it to work. So those Camp Chefs definitely work better with iOS. Now you tell me about the ghost pepper. We just used mozzarella. Hey, you did nothing wrong. It is excellent that way. But the ghost peppers do add a nice spicy kick to it. I'm going to throw these in the fridge real quick. I just wanted them out here so you guys could see them and be jealous, but I don't want to lose them. So hold on. All right. Colton said to increase the meat to 30 pounds. Who to trust? Colton probably has a vague understanding of math, like at best. If you put 3 apples in front of him and took one away, he'd have trouble figuring out how many apples were left. No. On certain jerky seasonings, yeah, absolutely. But this is not a strong salt jerky seasoning. The reason that this is 3 point whatever pounds is because all the sweetness that they need for barbecue. So I think you're going to be fine at 1-to-1, but try a small batch, maybe even try 2 small batches, one with his recommendation, one with mine. Speaking of something like that, Austin and I have both noticed that we're getting a little chunkier. Part of that is we both had COVID and both just kept getting tired at random times. My workouts have been a joke, and it's winter here. You just tend to add some more weight during that. But we are looking at maybe doing some sort of weight loss competition based around the monthly live streams. I think the winner or the loser should have to do a live stream, like go rent a pink tuxedo. The other thought was either if I lose, I'll wear an orange tuxedo, or if he loses, he'll wear the blue of that hat. We'll find one tuxedo in that and force them to wear that. I don't know. Just trying to think of something fun to do. Papa Sup, you asked about mild. Yep. So the taco sticks, I've made them a couple times, and I love it. I think they're absolutely great. But I did notice when I made them with deer, they did seem to have a little bit more spice. Now, I don't know if that's just, I added pork fat. Pork fat has very little taste. So I don't know if, it was just unusually mild flavor of deer, if it was really well processed, and then just the seasoning stuck out more. But that's just something to keep in mind. Yeah, Ryan Stevens says, meet them in the middle, do the 1-to-1, fry them. Just, you won't get a perfect representation of what a sausage is going to taste like if you do that, but it will get you right in the area. So for anyone who doesn't know, a lot of people, when they're doing their mixing, especially if they're trying new ingredients or don't know how much of something to add, as they're mixing, they'll take a small little portion of that, make a patty out of it, and just fry it up in a pan. Now, it's not going to have the same consistency. The Maillard reaction, which is like the caramelization, is going to come into play a little bit and could mislead you slightly on your fried patty, but it's better than just going in blind. It'll give you a good idea if you need more salt, which would mean add more seasoning, or if it's too salty, add more meat. So I've never rehydrated my jalapenos for summer sausage. Is there any drawback to that? Basically, your jalapenos are going to rehydrate while they're in the sausage. Is it a drawback? No, not necessarily. Only thing I could see happening is either A, your jalapeno flakes don't fully rehydrate, and then it just kind of feels like a leaf in there. Or, it could potentially draw more moisture out of the meat than you'd want. But, probably be fine. Almost everything that we give you, these little tips and tricks by themselves aren't going to make a huge difference. It's just when you add them all up that you'll start to see a better product. The lone exception to that is pull your sausage, snack sticks, whatever, summer sausage, especially summer sausage, out of your smoker at 130 degrees and finish them up in a hot water bath, like a sous vide style. That has been probably the biggest change to how I process cured sausage. It's just so much easier. It cuts hours off of your smoke schedule, and it gives you just a better product in the end. You have none to, and far less case hardening, at least. It's going to be just, I think, overall better. So quicker, better product, no reason not to do it. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, there are tons of posts on Meatgistics about it. For context, I had 2 cups per 25 pounds. I'm trying to think about how much 2 cups to 25 pounds would be, because volume on jalapeno flakes, they weigh it's like carrot fiber, very little weight. So yeah, you're probably fine. One of the things I try to say a lot is only change your process to exactly what we say if you're seeing a problem or want something different, or want something, like if you think it could be better, then change to what we do. If you're perfectly happy with your results and your process is safe, it's not like I like cooking my sausage to 135 degrees. Well, that's not safe. But like if it's we tell you to use Sure-Gel instead of carrot fiber, but you like the way it comes out, just keep doing that. Now, Sure-Gel is definitely going to give you a better finished product on a cured sausage, but that could be opinion. Ryan Jones says, I don't remember Austin talking about his weight. I just remember everyone poking fun at you. That's fair, because we're all used to Chunky Austin now. He's been here for a year. No use commenting on it anymore. When you get older and heavier, just say it's all paid for. Yep. I don't want to, though. Like, I want a 6-pack again. It's just how bad do I want it? Probably not bad enough. All right. Let's talk about what I posted on Meatgistics saying that this would be about. this is going to be a real quick rundown of this topic because a lot of these are, some of this is just more my opinion. I'm not a nutritionist. We are looking at having one on the podcast, and we are trying to get an expert in alpha gal, which is the syndrome that people get when they're bit by the Lone Star tick, where they are allergic to all red meats. It can be anywhere from as short as 8 months that lasts to 5 years, and some people don't ever recover from it. So that's obviously something we're looking at. We recently had a Meatgistics person post something saying that they had that and was looking for some recipes. So there's clearly some interest and some more good information we can get out of there if we can talk to somebody who actually understands the process, because everything I've read is like some paper from K-State or, Oklahoma Meat Lab, something like that. And those get confusing real quick if you try to read those. The ability to read a scientific paper is absolutely a acquired skill, and it is not one that I have acquired. So, but what we're going to talk about here is basically the health benefits of beef. For those of you who have listened to us for a long time, you'll know that I'm not somebody who dislikes or even really fears fat at all. Especially if we're talking about beef fat and protein fat or pork fat. It is really important for your body to get the correct amount of fat. The nice thing about eating, I think, every cut of beef is it has all 9. It's a complete amino acid. So it really does have everything you need from like a keep going standpoint. Like your body will subsist on it. There's something called rabbit starvation. That's where people can eat as much rabbit as they want, but there's all sorts of macros and micronutrients that are missing in that, biggest one being fat. So they eat as much as they want of it, but starve. So beef, obviously, that will not happen with. Beef's probably one of the biggest things. It is really strong in iron, which helps with the blood. It helps prevent, anemia? I keep wanting to say amnesia, but I know that's not anemia. There it is. So it helps prevent that, keeps your blood strong, keeps new blood cells being created with B12 and B6. Specifically, that B6 is really good for creation of new blood cells. Oddly, and I didn't know this, phosphorus, which is important for building muscle and for growing like kids. For them to grow properly, they need the proper amount of phosphorus. When I think of phosphorus, I think of like a phosphorus flare or grenade. That's basically all I think about. I never considered that it was an important nutrient that we need to consume, but plenty of that in beef. Niacin, which is also known as B3. This is one of the more controversial ones. You'll hear some cardiologists rave about niacin or B3, say it can help prevent heart attacks. And then there are other studies saying there is no link between increased amount of niacin and heart attacks. It does help raise your good cholesterol. And then there's some arguments about whether or not it lowers your bad cholesterol. And then it also has small amounts of psyllium and vitamin D. Vitamin D helps prevent rickets, which I don't think people get anymore. So quick macros on a serving of beef. If we're talking about a cut that is 10%, 3.5 ounces have 215 calories. 26 grams of protein, which is awesome. That is quite a bit. And 11 grams of fat. Now, once it's cooked, it's about 25% of it is protein. and it does contain trans fat. But there's something interesting about that. It's what's called a ruminant fat. So it's a natural fat. It is not the same as like the trans fats. There used to be a Frito-Lay dip that had trans fats in it, and one of my favorite things of all time to eat. But yeah, no, I had to stop eating those probably my mid-20s because I figured out how terrible it was for you. But the ruminant trans fats are not the same. So it's a good trans fats. And then just a couple quick, what I thought were fairly interesting comments was a steer that weighs about 1,200 pounds is going to provide about 500 pounds of muscle cuts. So, that's ribeyes, sirloins, but then 99% of the weight of that animal will be used in some way. So leathers are obviously turned into hide, and the rest of it will be added to other products. That's where we got sausage from, really. If people hadn't started to try to use as much of the animal as possible out of necessity, they never would have made things like blood sausage. They never would have made things like normal sausage. So I don't want to get into a big environmental thing, but the meat processing industry is actually pretty good at trying to use as much of every animal as possible. So, and then while I was looking at this the last couple of days, and I've been using DuckDuckGo a lot more recently, just really to see if it does give different results. And it definitely does. There are wildly different links on DuckDuckGo. But I looked health benefits of meat, and on the front page, 4 of the DuckDuckGo's 12 or something like that were health benefits of not eating as much meat. And Google, I think, had 2 or 3 of those. So I was kind of surprised at that. I would have figured Google would have had the more negative articles. I don't know why I feel like that. Then in 2011, each American ate 54.5 pounds of beef. The highest recording, they started recording 1910 or something like that. The highest ever was in 1976, where each person ate 88 pounds of beef. So we were eating way less beef. I have a theory that I have literally no evidence to back up. This is just shooting from the hip. I think Americans eat a ton more chicken and pork now than we used to. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, there was a big marketing push for pork, calling it the other white meat. So I think people eat a lot more pork now than they used to. Pork butts are obviously phenomenal. All my snack sticks are pork. Unless I'm looking for something really specific, I do 100% pork. Obviously, if I'm doing deer, that's different. But what is the one? The Philly, I'll use either 50-50 with pork and beef or 100% beef and just pork fat. But other than that, I just like pork better. It's got a better fat to it, nice creaminess. And the pork fat has almost no taste. So it works really, really well for that. All right. Ryan Jones says, in a fresh sausage, when replacing powdered milk as a binder, which is better, carrot fiber or Sure-Gel? I would go with just carrot fiber. I mean, all you're looking for it to do is to hold on to more moisture. The other possible option would be Superbind. Superbind's a mix of carrot fiber and potato starch. So the potato starch, when it gets to around 130 degrees, starts forming a gel. The other thing that happens is 130 degrees is meat really starts to sweat, really starts to push out all the moisture from the muscles. So that gel is there to absorb all that. So I would still probably just use carrot fiber. It is super inexpensive, and it's really good for fresh sausage. So Craig Rice says, has Walton's ever thought about a Zoom meeting for a meet and greet? Yeah, that is something Austin and I have talked about. So a way for not only us, for you to see us, but for us to see you. Yeah, we have talked about that. This summer, fall, probably closer to fall, Austin and I are really trying to put together something for a Meatgistics meetup. We definitely would have done it in 2020 had COVID not closed everything down. But we're 100% trying to get that to happen in 2021. So we have an awesome facility here at Walton's. The building we're in used to be a college. So we've got plenty of rooms we've got one big room that's still set up as a classroom. We've got this kitchen and then our commercial test kitchen. Plenty of room to do all sorts of expos. We've got nice outside areas. And then the plan would be to block off a group of hotel rooms at a hotel right down the street so everybody could basically stay together. My wife has told me I have to stop inviting people to stay at our house when they come to visit. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't tell me that. I live 2 miles up the road, so people need a place to crash. It's just me and my wife and my 2 ridiculous sized dogs. So, but yeah, we've definitely thought about things like that. Yep, that's John Belvedere says, that's why I grind my own chopped meat. 100% ground meat is anything from the snout to the rear. Yeah, that is accurate. We went and visited a meat processor up in Nebraska. And first, I really did not have an understanding of how ridiculously huge a buffalo is. They had beef halves and buffalo halves, like hung basically right next to, they were on a different rail, but basically right next to each other. And oh my God, those buffaloes were enormous. Like it looked like they were about twice the size. I know they're not, but it looked like that. But as they were cutting, the first thing that amazed me is how fast they broke down a carcass into primals. Like that was really kind of eye-opening. And then as they're pushing things to certain cutters, they're trimming stuff off and pushing that all basically into the middle. That middle pile gets made into sausage. Some of it's made into ground beef. But again, that's an effort on their part to try to use as much of the animal as possible. Now, it's not all altruistic. It's not that they're just trying to be, in touch with nature. They're trying to get a profit from that. But, I mean, works both ways. Oh, what's happening here? Sorry about that. All right, so I don't really have much else. I'm going to still hang out here, talk, answer any questions you guys have. But I think what I'm mostly going to just kind of spitball on are the new Camp Chef smokers, since that's what I've been doing. That and the website's really all I've been doing recently. Actually, no, a couple of these things. I think I said this on a podcast recently, but we're sponsoring a new podcast called, well, it's not a new podcast. We are a new sponsor to a podcast called the Hunting Dog Podcast. Guy is awesome. Rob Boehm, all sorts of people have sent their dogs to him for him to help train. Apparently he does an awesome job with that. He's going to be on Steve Rinella's show, the Meat Eater podcast, here sometime in April. And he and I just got to talking. I really liked him. So we're going to be a sponsor on that show. There's another one. There's a guy, Daniel Holder. For you who remember, early on, we had somebody in from CZ, the gun company, as a podcast guest. He was excellent. We got to talking, and he was saying he wanted to start a podcast. And his podcast is Hunt, Fish, Eat, and we have been a sponsor of that since day one. We also sponsor BHA, which is Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. We're pretty good friends with the local chapter here. We try to sponsor a lot of things they do. For those of you who don't know, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers are mostly, they call themselves a boots on the ground organization. They're not doing a bunch of fundraising for lobbying, things like that. They'll work with Parks and Recreation, whoever they need to, Army Corps of Engineers. They go in and clean up areas like the El Dorado Dam. They'll have a trash pickup where they just go out with a bunch of bags and start picking up trash. They'll also do things like clear out old fences with barbed wire on them. Really good stuff. As soon as my wife is done with her MBA stuff, I have promised that we will go do a couple of these cleanups. And then occasionally we'll have a pint night or a movie night here at Walton's for them, and it's always a good time. They did one the first year. It was just a bunch of short films. I happened to walk out and walk back in, and all I saw was a guy like holding his dog and sad music playing. I was like, oh, no. I can't pay attention to any of this. You can see plenty of people teary-eyed. So yeah, but whatever. That was awesome. Really, really cool. Small filmmakers making little things about why they love the outdoors. Great organization to get involved with. Fat Bob, how you doing? All right, the Cook Shack and Smoking It have trouble producing smoke with chunks at 130 to 150 degrees. Do the sawdust smokers, the PK100, do better in this regard? All right, so that's from J.A. Wiles. Jay, I assume you're the same person who posted that on Meatgistics. I'm assuming. If not, there was a post in the last 24 hours very similar to that. So the PK100, I have long said, puts at least as good, or puts as good a smoke color and taste as any other smoke you're going to get. And while it doesn't have the advantages of things like automatic damps or ability to control humidity, other than that, I mean, it does a great job. And when I say humidity automatic dampers, it's because that's what the 500T, the Pro Smoker 500T does. That's our big commercial smokehouse. But just from if you want to do snack sticks, if you want to do summer sausage, if you want to do hams or bacons, it does an amazing job. After 130 to 140, once the meat has reached that temperature, it's kind of done getting smoke flavor. It can still happen, but for the most part, it's done with that. But you're talking about temperature of the smokehouse, not temperature of the meat. But yes, at around the 130 degrees, that will barrel smoke out. I'm trying to think. Maybe we need to do some sort of video on smoke production at different temperatures. It would have to be with different smokers though. So we would do have the PK100 next to the vertical XXL from Camp Chef, set them both to the same temperature, and see which one could create more smoke, and then try that at a couple of different temperature ranges and just see which one does better. The one thing about the Camp Chef is it is pellet smoker. The PK is sawdust only. There was a guy on Meatgistics recently who was posting that he actually bent the hinges on the door of his, and it didn't seem like there was a good reason why. We've had this happen once 4 or 5 years ago, and that was because the person tried to use pellets in the PK, and the PK cannot have pellets put in it. They put off a different amount of pressure as they burn, and the PK is so well insulated that that pressure is not going to escape, so it just flash burn. Don't know exactly what happened with this guy, but he's in touch with Pro Smoker, so hopefully that all works out for him. But yes, you can be very confident that the PK100 is going to create a good amount of smoke at 130, 120 degrees. I hope that answered it. Sometimes I forget where I'm going as I'm talking. I know that happens to other people, but it's just like a moment of pure panic in my mind where I'm like, oh no, where was I going with this? So, yeah, John Belvedere brings up a good point too. Those Amazon tube smokers are an awesome way to add smoke on the super cheap. I mean, they're like $20. The only deal, and I don't know this for sure, in all likelihood, it wouldn't make a difference, but I still wouldn't use pellets, even if it's just the Amazing tube in the PK. It's probably not releasing the same amount of pressure, but I still wouldn't do it just to be on the safe side. Papa Sop says, great idea, but wouldn't be the same. Want to meet you all in person. Okay, so we're talking about the difference from Meatgistics meetup to a Zoom hangout meeting. Although, that could be cool. That could be a cool thing to do. Set up I don't know how often we do it, maybe even just do it once. Set up a one-night event where everybody cooks. We could either all cook the same thing or cook what you're best at. And then we could all hook up and talk, show what we've cooked, talk about it, what we like about it, what we don't like about it. That's actually, when Craig Rice was saying that, I was thinking more one-on-one, but everybody being able to see everybody else actually sounds really appealing. We'll think about that. That's a good idea. I like that. Thank you, Craig. I will. She's a very determined person. So, I mean, we joke about it all the time now, but we say hi or we say good morning and we say good night, but other than that, she's either at work or working on her schoolwork. I'm either here or dealing with my dogs, which unfortunately, my big one, it's 200-ish pounds, tore his ACL. So we're going to have to either take him up to Kansas City, to this place called Blue Pearl, or K-State to have that done. The good news is, well, A, we don't spend a lot of money. I drive a 2002 truck, and B, this surgery is supposed to be pretty successful. But my dogs are a mess. One has terrible anxiety problems. The other one's limping around on 3 paws. It kills me to watch that. So we're trying to get that done as quickly as we can. I'll be gone here for just probably a day in the next couple of weeks. So if you don't see me, that's where I am. Paul Wimmer says, would love to hear more about smoke production at various temperatures. I'm trying to fine-tune one of mine to put out better smoke at higher temps without burning pellets too quickly. And that's always what it is, especially at higher temps. I mean, obviously, you're going to create better smoke. Well, you're going to create more smoke, but you're going to run through your pellets like crazy. One thing I will say, I've done a ton on the Woodwind. I've now used the Vertical XL 4 times. Vertical XL is excellent at pellet management. Yesterday I had them running from 6:30 a.m. to 8 something, and I would highly doubt it went through an entire hopper. So it started off, it was a little bit below half. I then, after a couple hours, filled it all the way up. Then when I came back in at night, it was fairly low, but still had another couple hours in it. Sorry, I'm questioning myself if I actually filled them up before. No, I didn't. I didn't fill them up before I left for the day. So yeah, it is awesome at pellet management. The Woodwind I was using is the 36-inch model. So it's a much bigger chamber than the one I have at home. So it does go through pellets a lot quicker because it's got to heat all of that area. I would tell people that unless they are looking at cooking many racks of ribs or cooking for a ton of people at once, that the 24-inch is really all you need. That's what I have at home. Plenty of room on the main area. Plus, it comes with these shelves that are already built in. So you almost double your area on that. And then the sear box on the side. I love that thing. Absolutely love that. The griddle came in. The side griddle came in. And that looks awesome. I'm trying not to buy one because my wife will kill me. And then we do have a actual griddle from Camp Chef coming in here shortly too. Yeah, I probably normally shouldn't say this, but we have already picked what our giveaway for April is going to be. And it's going to be the Camp Chef Vertical XXL. So pretty awesome piece of equipment. We are going to give one of them away. I put ours together in about just over an hour, and we were videotaping it, so probably could have done it quicker. So it's not hard to put together. Seems to be really good at pellets. Puts out a great amount of smoke. The probe thermometers on both of them are really accurate, which was a problem with my old pellet. So yeah, all around, I really like them. I have an amazing zigzag smoker. Hard to keep it lit in the smoker at high temps for some reason. Huh. Yeah, no, that's true. We probably should do that by teams. Ooh, no, that's what I wanted to talk about. So some of you, I know a few of you we've talked to individually about this, but we're going to start doing, and something we should have done, we're going to start having rewards for Meatgistics users. So right now, if you get like regular contributor or power user, you get a badge that you can put next to your name. I think that is very valuable, not only for that person, but I was having a talk with somebody, process head. It wasn't doing them automatically, so I went in and added his. It was just because I wanted people to know who he was answering their questions, that this is somebody that they should listen to. Joe Hell, Papa Sop, Tex, obviously, they're all power users. But we're going to start having physical, I hesitate to call it rewards, a thank you, at certain post counts with escalating pieces of, it's not equipment, with some, like a gift. They'll be personalized, and they should be, at least we think they're awesome. So we're getting some pricing right now on the person we do our merchandise with, on personalization of some items, and we'll start sending them out. There's one person who will get the 3 levels. There's a couple people that will get 2, and then there's a few that will get 1. Once we've done that, once we've rolled them out to those people who have already hit that post count, we'll go ahead and let everybody know. But I do want it to be a surprise for those people. So, Jim, the April giveaway will start. Oh God, is it going to be on April 1st? Yep, it's going to be on April 1st. That's Thursday, so that's a week from today. We will begin that on that day. We will also draw the winner for this month's giveaway. This month, we're doing something a little bit different than what we've ever done before. The winner is going to get their choice. They can either take a Walton's 22 grinder. They can have a smaller Walton's grinder if it's somebody who wants a 12 instead. We can give them a 12 instead. Or they can get an 11-pound stuffer and a 8.7 inch slicer, or I think an 11-pound and a 50-pound meat mixer. So we're going to let that person choose so that they get whatever helps them the most. So we will draw that on the 1st as well. Ryan says autographed picture of Jonathan. Yeah, nope. First of all, my handwriting is disgustingly bad. Plus, we need to get back to Slim Jonathan, the one who didn't, or who used to do intermittent fasting and lost weight. Yeah, so just out of curiosity, is everybody who is here, if you would be interested in coming to the Meatgistics meetup, can you just say something in the chat? Just say yes or something like that. Me. We think we're going to have a pretty good turnout. We definitely have a strong, really strong core group of Meatgistics users. Some of you, I know, like John Belvedere, you're very, very far away. So that is an enormous ask. So what we will do to try to make it as accessible to everybody is we'll videotape everything. and we'll cut videos, cut like all sorts of things out of it so other people can get to enjoy some of the Meatgistics meetups, even if they're not able to make it out here. Yeah, well, Ryan, if you didn't come, I'd come get you. You're right up the street. There's no reasonable excuse for you not to come. What is Jim asking? Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah. So it's not there right now because that top right hyperlink I changed to bring people here. So Jim, go to waltonsinc.com/lot or /win. That's where you can enter. There's a bunch of different ways to enter. I think that's usually like around 10. There's also one that's a bonus entry, so you can come back every day. And if you're logged in and everything's working correctly, it should award that as soon as you hit the page. So if you get there and it's got a thing that like the little clock symbol that says, next entry in however long, that's because you did get it as soon as you logged into that page. It registered you and went ahead and gave you the credit for that. Nice. Cool. John, we absolutely love to see you. I don't really see any. I have a 4.5-year-old Chihuahua, I guess, and an old pug. Yeah, man. I honestly, I don't think I'll ever be without a dog again. I love having them around. They're always funny, even when they're terribly annoying. Like my poor dog Riggins, he's just so bad separation anxiety. But even when I come home and he's freaking out, he's been freaking out for however long, chewing on my doors, drooling everywhere. It's just, I still laugh. Like I sit there and look at him. And he looks up at me with that big like pit bull smile and his tongue is hanging out. And he's so, I mean, what else are you going to do but laugh? So. All right, I don't see any questions that I missed. I'll hang around for another couple minutes. If anyone knows of a question out there that I didn't hit, let me know. I'll get back to it. A couple things. Austin is planning, this might not be a soon thing, but is planning on basically rewriting the entire Meatgistics app from the ground up. I think he's talking about doing it where iOS and Android at the same time, because we're not making any progress on getting the Meatgistics app for iOS. And without that, we wanted to use the Meatgistics app to send out like flash coupons or like say, hey, this is going on, we're going to be doing this for the next however long. But since we can't send it to iOS, I just didn't feel right about continuing to do that. So once we have it set up like that, we will use that a lot to communicate with you guys directly. We're also looking at building in a calculator to it. So if you either enter in like the SKU number or pick the seasoning from a drop-down list, then say how many pounds of meat you're making, it'll automatically spit out what amount of seasoning you use or you need. We're also going to do one where instead of that, you could just choose like the usage. So for example, there are a bunch of seasonings that are 1.5 pounds to 25 pounds of meat. So if you just choose the drop-down will be like 1.5, there'll be one for each individual usage. So some will say 1.5, some will say 2.6 something. But you do that, how many pounds of meat you're doing, and it'll also tell you exactly how much seasoning you would need. That will probably be something that is only on the app though, because apparently it's a lot easier to do it on the app than it is here. For anyone in the Wichita area, go on over to ZipRecruiter if you want. We've posted a job for a web coordinator recently. The web coordinator will report to me. It's somebody who is going to need to understand or be willing to spend a lot of time learning search engine optimization, It's going to have to be somebody with strong written skills because they'll be going through waltonsinc.com and rewriting all the descriptions with SEO in mind. But got to tell you, this is an amazing place to work. So it's worth it. My wife and I talk about it all the time. It makes a difference when I pop out of the bed, excited to come in, and other people are dragging their feet. So, all right. Check to see if there's any. Yeah, I know they didn't work. Well, it was flawed how we tried to send them, I think. Because they would show, like, as an alert, but then they would never stay. Like, it was very difficult to get back to the flash coupon on the Meatgistics app. Restructured jerky protein extraction binder. Yeah. So yes, I don't make much restructured jerky, but a binder is absolutely going to help. Yeah, and then it is, it's a cured product, so you're going to want protein extraction on that. You should be using a very lean cut of meat for that anyways. So fat rendering isn't as much of a problem, but you still want to consider it. Why is this sky blue? Because it matches our hats. Yep, there you go. That's actually our hats reflecting. So the sky isn't blue until Team Blue puts on their hats. Yeah, Paul says, any idea why I keep getting emails asking me to do product reviews after I've done them for that product already? No, but I have some news on that. At least I am going through. We use a service called TrustSpot to do all those reviews for us. Right now, how it's set up is if you bought 10 items in an order, it'll wait sometimes about a week. Then it'll send you an email saying, hey, would you like to review this specific item for X amount off? I think $5 off your next order of $25 or more. And then if you do that, it will then send you another email that says, hey, do you want to review this item and then this item and then this item? We are going to cut down on some of those. Hey, do this one, do this one, do this one. Why it keeps asking you to do the same one, I don't know. I did not know that was an issue. But we are sending way too many emails through that right now. So we're going to be looking into that and trying to pare it down a little bit. Soy. Use the soy protein binder. Carrot fiber is going to work against you in restructured jerky. Carrot fiber's sole purpose is to try to hold on to as much moisture as possible. With jerky, you want it to be at least semi-dried, but really dried product, even with restructured. So use the soy protein blend. Better would be the Sure Gel, but soy protein blend absolutely will work. I notice it only gives you the coupon once. So, Paul, you're saying that it sends you an email asking you to review this. You review it. It sends you another one, like, hey, review this one too. And when you do that again, it doesn't send you another coupon. Is that what you're saying? Because if that's the case, I'll get in touch with support at TrustSpot and figure out why it would be doing that. Also, Paul, are you on Meatgistics? If you are, can you give me your Meatgistics username so I can look up your email address and see if I can see what it has been sending you? So yeah, and Craig Rice, add cure and hold overnight. Or, if you're adding some cure accelerator, but if you're not, yeah, add and hold overnight. Is that right? Yes. Yeah, it's a cured product. Oh, there you go. Sounds good, Paul. I will check that out. I'll figure out why it's doing that, and I'll get back with you. All right. Anyone else have any questions? This is the new Monster. It is Ultra Gold. It's like a pina colada type thing, but really it just tastes like pineapples and awesomeness. My new favorite Monster. Sweet. Thanks, guys. Oh, no. There we go.